welcome to the second edition of the Elephant West. We are here with the famous E.L. James, and it's an honor and a pleasure for me to welcome her in our online book fair. And my first question is, you said on your website that you are working on Freed, which is the third part from the 50 Shades story told by Christian Grey. And also you work on the movie adaptation of The Mister, which we have here. How are this project going?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. It's a delight to be here, and it makes a real change from what I'm normally doing at the moment, which is editing Freed. I've actually written the book, and I'm still going through my edits, and it's very, very long, so it's taken me a long time. And then hopefully over the next week or so, I'm going to submit it to my editor, and we'll go from there. I don't know when it will be published or what have you, but I have a book. It's there. It probably needs a lot of work, but it's there. I don't have much to report on The Mister at the moment in terms of the movie. And as soon as I do, I will let people know. But it's sort of happening all in the background. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And we shall see. I'm very excited for that, and I'm very excited for Freed as well. I hope people will find it a really good, satisfying read. That's what I'm hoping. Anyway, we'll see.
Yeah, your Romanians fan are expecting this new book and also the movie adaptation. Now, let's go back in time to your first book, 50 Shades of Grey. Your story got so many women to enjoy reading again after their school years, because in these days, after you finish school, you also finish to read for pleasure or to educate yourself. Did you ever dream, or did you ever expect that massive global success?
Never in a million years. Never, ever, ever, ever. It still takes me by surprise when I look back on everything. I think that one of my things I'm proudest of is to get people reading, women especially, again. And it's interesting because I recently was looking at a photographic project. I can't remember, unfortunately, who the photographer was, but she was talking about how leisure time is a feminist issue, because women don't have time to read. They don't make time for themselves, you know, in between caring for parents, for families, for whatever. And so I'm really delighted that women found time to escape into another world. And I mean, that's all it is. It's I've always thought of 50 as a sort of fairy tale, sort of based on Beauty and the Beast, really. And I'm just delighted that women got together. They formed book groups. They just to explore this book, and then went on to read loads and loads of other things as well. So I'm just delighted by that.
Yes. What was it like? What was it like to break so many sales records? Because the last numbers I've got online, more than 150 million copies sold worldwide, and millions of fans of the movie adaptation. It must be, I don't know, overwhelming.
It is overwhelming. It's overwhelming, and it's also a great responsibility as well, because you want to try and keep those fans happy. And which is going back to doing Freed. I hadn't decided. It took me a long time to get around to doing Freed, but now I'm really pleased that it's well on its way. But yeah, it's a huge responsibility, and it is overwhelming, really overwhelming. And trying to stay connected and what have you with people is it's a lot, especially in lockdown, because you just kind of it's so weird. And this is great. I mean, Zoom has been amazing for lockdown, but it's been weird to be so disconnected from everything. So yeah, if I think about it, if I go onto my social media and, you know, there's lots of people out there, it is a little bit overwhelming.
Beside all this, the huge success, the great sales numbers, you did provoke a huge change in your reader's life. You helped many women to break some, I don't know, sexual or intimacy taboos. You help them to express their feelings and their fantasies. I don't know, maybe I think it's very hard to see the effect of your writing.
I think I get many letters. I think that's the way, and emails and people on social media, and the response has been, you know, like we say, overwhelming. I just have women who have written to me and said, you know, you've saved my marriage, you've done this, because they've just rediscovered some kind of intimacy with their husbands or boyfriends or whatever. I wrote the book for me, for fun, and it's extraordinary that it's had this kind of effect. But I've also received letters from men as well. I remember one in particular was from a 71-year-old man who said, thank you for reminding me what it's like to fall in love again. And you know, things like that. Yeah, it's been extraordinary. That's great. Extraordinary. And also, I remember one particular email that said, as a couple who had adopted a child who couldn't bear to be touched, and they started following the same, process that Christian follows in the book, and they had extraordinary results from that. So yeah, that was all these unexpected things that, you know, I didn't see and didn't know were coming, and it's very humbling when I get that kind of thing, because as I said, I wrote it for fun, for me, really.
Yes, but you really brought such happiness to so many people.
Well, that's that's lovely to know. I mean, I think the thing is, women have sexual desires. They have, you know, if they want someone who knows what to do, if you know what I mean, and that's certainly all there in 50. So yeah, I better not say too much about that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
In the first book, you just launched an expression, inner goddess, and it became very popular and maybe so accurate to describe a woman's personal universe. How did you come with that phrase?
Well, it's funny, you know. Some of 50 Shades is it's very heavy and dark, and I wanted some light relief, so I just put her in for a bit of light relief. And it's funny. Some people love her, some people hate her. It's the kind of weird kind of thing. And I principally she was there, but I think we all have an inner life, an inner self, and you know, why not express it that way? We all have our fantasies, we all have our deepest and darkest desires, and you know, it's fun to explore that.
Yes. I am just curious. Did the Anastasian Christian from your book look and feel the same on the silver screen for you?
That's a very good question. I think it's so hard, because these people were very much in my head when I wrote it, and then to see them on screen, it was just a different process. So I think that both Dakota Johnson and Jamie Dornan did a fantastic job of bringing them to life. I mean, it was funny. It was so funny when we were casting them and everyone was going, no, 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 this is wrong. And then you see, and it's all fine. So it's just one of those things. People have an idea, and then as soon as you put someone in that space, you've already made up your mind if you've read the book. If you haven't read the book, then it's great because you've got these people out in front of you. And then you go to the book, they're all there. So yeah, it was an interesting process going through that, yeah, and hopefully I'm going to do it again.
Great. Great. We are expecting the new result. You said you wrote The Mister as an escape, as your take on a modern Cinderella story.
Yes.
And I think that for that book, you activated somehow your historian skills. How did you did the research for the book?
Oh, well, I mean, it's so much easier because I live in the UK. I'm lucky because I know Cornwall very well, and I love Cornwall. So I just used those aspects. And then Albania, I didn't know at all. I just picked Albania. I thought, let's make it Albanian. I'm so glad I did. And I actually, when I came to writing it, I was actually very lost writing about Alessia, because there's very, very little written about Albania except this, which is a fantastic book, actually. This book was great, The Accursed Mountains, by Robert Carver. It's an extraordinary book, and he went into Albania shortly after the fall of communism, and as they were having democratically held elections, just in that very chaotic time, and he writes about it, and it's a fascinating read, fascinating country, fascinating culture, and it's because of where it is, it has such a rich history. So my husband and I decided that we'd go there and see it, and having been through that experience, we went to Kukes, and we stayed a few days, and it's just such a beautiful place, and I was able to understand Alessia more then, and I was able to continue writing. So those are where the skills come in, and I'm going to have to use them again if I write the second part of the book. It's all about getting visas, and in this strange time that we're living in, and certainly in the UK, where we've gone through this ridiculous Brexit, which I am not a fan of. I very much feel like I'm a European. There is that's had serious implications for people coming into the country, so that's going to be interesting to do.
Yeah. Behind the love story, which is great and so touching, the Mister has some very serious social themes like human trafficking, immigration. So my question is this for you a step to move away from the contemporary romance to another literary genre?
Not really, no. I mean, I start with two characters, and then I see where they will take me. I knew for the Mister that we've got someone who's led an absolute life of privilege and someone who hasn't, and just the disparity between the two was something very important to me, especially now where I'm now in an extraordinarily privileged position. Certainly with the success of 50 Shades. And I wanted to explore what it's like to live with absolutely nothing, to have nothing, to not even be able to afford a pair of socks. And my fear, and especially now since COVID, for us with Brexit, is that divide is only going to get wider and wider and wider. It's all over the world. The inequality is what's making this planet just less hospitable for everybody, and it's something I feel quite passionately about, and I could rant on about it, but I won't. But I wanted to explore that dichotomy, and that's why it's a Cinderella story. She finds, basically her prince, and sometimes we could all do with a bit of help. So
Yeah.
there we go.
Yes. You said earlier that you plan to write the second part for the Mister. Will have the same characters, or I
I
don't
don't
know.
know yet. We shall see.
So it's just a plan.
It's
It's
just a
just a
plan
plan.
at the moment. I'm still very much in Seattle right now, so I have to get myself back into Albania and London. I'm one of my biggest things is finding out about Albanian weddings. That's so yeah, I need to know how they work. I've got an idea, but if anyone wants to invite me to an Albanian wedding, I'm there.
Yeah, I've read somewhere that your husband brought some Albanian dishes.
Yes,
Learned to cook.
yes, we did. We cooked a lot. Yes, it was. As it's mentioned in the book, it's Tave Cozy. I think I'm not sure of the pronunciation, so forgive me. But yes, we did some experiments with that, and I put it in the book. And also, Maxim has his own Instagram, so he occasionally Instagrams these things. So.
Yeah. Now, let's get back to the literary world. Do you have any friends in this world? Do you meet? Do you write to each other? Especially with the COVID, you must have uh, kept the friendship alive because.
But yeah, I mean, it's thanks to social media that you can, and I'm very blessed with having many friends who are authors and who are in that world. One of my friends, a lady called Deborah Anastasia, and she writes. Her last book was called Drowning in Stars, which is just wonderful, and I would recommend that to everybody. We do writing challenges together, so she'll get on and say, "Oh, I'm writing now. Are you?" And we, how many words did you write in an hour, and that sort of thing. So we did a bit of that together, which was great fun. And I have other friends who also have done that with me in the past. But it's great. It's lovely. I have lots of friends. It's interesting though, because we don't get to discuss writing very often. One particular friend I do. And she has written her novel. Her name is Ruth Clampett. She's a very good friend of mine. And she's great because she reads my chapters as I do them and reports and things. And I do the same for her, but she hasn't been writing for a while, but she has written another book, and I'm looking forward to when that comes out. And yeah, it's good to have those friends, but it's much nicer when we get together because then we can talk. But everyone has their own process, and it's fascinating how people have their own way of doing things, and it's all very, very different. So yeah, I miss that interaction, and I wish we could do more of it. I mean, I could actually. I mean, maybe I should initiate something. Let's talk about writing. But we're all too busy doing it to actually talk about it. I think maybe I don't know.
Yeah. I guess you also miss the literary festivals and the book launches and.
Well, book launches definitely. I've not won for literary festivals. I've not really been to it. This might be my first actually. I'm not sure because my memory is getting old and cranky. But yes. Yes, I've missed all. I mean, all traveling at all. I haven't done any traveling since last November, and so it's nearly a year.
Yeah.
And where I used to be going, every backwards forwards from Los Angeles and what have you. We've just been here. It's been very strange.
I have read that you and your husband have had a lovely Christmas tradition for the last 33 years. Now we are telling people marriage has 33 years. Could you
Yes.
tell us what it is about?
Yes. I've actually lost the first photograph, but back in, this is 1998. That's my
Yeah.
husband and I, babies. There we are, babies. And what we do is we take a Polaroid of us with our Christmas tree and put it on the tree. So I've lost 1987, but that's 1988, and I just pulled out a couple. This is us with my son when he was born, my eldest
Yeah.
son. So
Lovely.
there's our Christmas tree in the background, and there he is. Oh, just so sweet.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do it every year. Now we've got there's four of us. I've got two grown sons, and we've got the dogs, and yeah, and we every year we take a picture and put it on the tree, and they're just lovely together. And I think it's a wonderful tradition, and I would recommend anyone starting out to start it whenever. It just is it's a lovely way to look back.
Yeah, it's great. During this pandemic, did you find a new hobby? Did you read more? Did you add some more TV shows on your list?
I watched a lot of TV shows actually, and one of the things I did watch, which I just absolutely loved, was called The Originals. I don't know if you have it in Romania. It's about a vampire family, and it's about witches and werewolves and what have you, and I just adored it. I've watched lots of other things, but mainly I've just been writing. It's taken me the novel at the moment is incredibly long, and it's taken me all that time to write. As I said, I'm still working on it now, and I'll probably be working on it for a few more months. So yeah, new hobbies, no, but I have written books. So there's that. So yeah. I wish I had a new hobby, but we did a few jigsaws. You know, sometimes when you need to tune out, I would thoroughly recommend doing a jigsaw, because it just becomes all about the jigsaw, and everything else it's a holiday. Doing a
Yeah.
jigsaw is a holiday. So I would say that's the only thing. We're sort of living the dream here in London.
How do you see the future of the publishing industry and of the entertainment industry? Because this pandemic has made and has brought so many changes in so many areas of our lives. I don't think the things will be the same after it will be over.
I don't know. I think once and if a vaccine can be found, then maybe things will go back. But we have to be careful and cognizant, because there could be another pandemic of something else. So I think that this is a very big question, actually, because you just think it's about caring for our planet, and I hope that from this we will become more cognizant of that fact, and try and do more. In terms of publishing, I think the publishing industry is hopefully is going to be quite robust through this, because what can people do? They can't go out, they can watch TV, they can read. I mean, at some point there aren't going to be any new TV shows if we can't get this together, and certainly with films as well. I know that I recently spoke to some friends who are making one of the movies here in the UK, and they have such strict measures in place to keep everybody safe. So, and it's just expensive, it becomes more and more expensive to do that. So I don't know what the future holds. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball. I just think that we have to be more careful about how we treat animals, how we treat the planet, and hopefully we'll be all right. I did watch this extraordinary documentary called Kiss the Ground, which is about restoring soil, which is something that Christian Grey is very passionate about, which is kind of weird, and it's actually in the books. But that gave me hope about how any part of the planet can restore their soil, which has a huge beneficial effect on everything and everybody around it. So I would recommend anybody to watch that and see if we can drive that forward.
Yeah. Let's hope for the best.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's hope that we will see you soon, maybe next year, maybe the year after in Romania, because you have here so many fans. And I thank you for this interview, and we send you a very big virtual hug.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'd like to send a huge virtual hug back to my fans in Romania. And it's a place that I'd love to visit one day when we can do all of that again. Yeah, it's on my list. It's on my list of places to go.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for this wonderful opportunity to talk to everyone, and for this lovely interview. Thank you.